If you're tired of watching Alec Burks play and you don't want him in the starting lineup anymore, because there's really no reason to be playing a 30-year-old point guard in this state of the season for the New York Knicks like Alec Burks. So if you want Alec Burks to be benched, go down and like this video. We'll continue to talk about Burks later on in the video. But let me know, if you want Burks to be benched, go down and hit that like button. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. Give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Knicks all day, every day, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers, so help me out. In today's show, we're talking about Alec Burks, RJ Barrett, Immanuel Quickley, Cam Reddish, and Tom Thibodeau. But I want to start the show talking about RJ Barrett and what he's done since the All-Star break. And we'll even look at some stats before the All-Star break, because Barrett is playing some of his best basketball of his young NBA career. And the thing that I've liked to see the most since he's come back from that ankle injury where he missed 5 games before the break was he is much more involved in this offense, and you can see that Tom Thibodeau is making him a focal point. You could just tell last couple games versus the Heat, and then yesterday versus the Philadelphia 76ers, RJ Barrett is handling the basketball much more, and this is the most often I've seen RJ Barrett be the ball handler in pick-and-roll situations. These past couple games, RJ Barrett has decided he's going to get downhill and he's going to get to the free throw line much more than before. In the past 5 games, he has been on an absolute tear, averaging nearly 30 points per game while rebounding the basketball at a 6.2 clip per night, assists 4.2 per game, and he's shooting 40.5% from beyond the three-point line. RJ Barrett is really finding out what type of basketball player he is, and it stretches on past that. Not just in the past 5 games, but in the last 21 games, RJ Barrett has been an absolute stud and a driving force for this New York Knicks team. They haven't been winning a lot of games, but as a Knicks fan, with Barrett being just 21 years old, we are finally seeing the player that RJ Barrett was projected to be when he was the 3rd overall pick coming out of Duke, averaging 24 points per game, 6 rebounds, shooting 43.3% from the field, and 39.8%. The thing I also like, he's getting to the free throw line more. In the past 5 games, he's attempting nearly 10 free throws per night, but he's only shooting 65.3%, which is an area that he needs to tremendously improve upon. Free throw shooting is all about rhythm. It's all about reps. You heard on the broadcast yesterday on ESPN that he stayed after Saturday's practice and attempted 200 made free throws in a row before he left, and that's what we need. We love it when RJ Barrett gets downhill, but you got to capitalize when you get to the free throw line. We'll continue to talk about RJ Barrett, but I want to get your thoughts and have you weigh in early on in the show. Can RJ Barrett be the face of the New York Knicks for the long haul? Jimmy Butler, he had some kind words to say about RJ. We'll look at those in a second. But get your votes in. Go down in the comments and type Y for yes or N for no. RJ's been in his bag. He's improving as a player as a 3-level scorer. The mid-range game has been a very fine and just great improvement to watch for RJ. He's a guy that now feels confident in taking step-back mid-range jumpers, step-back threes. He's scoring off the dribble and off the bounce better than he ever has before. Against the Heat, he dropped a career-high 46 points, and he was very efficient. But yesterday against the Philadelphia 76ers, he played a really good game, but he was inefficient. But I don't care. I just like seeing him be aggressive. And at the end of the day, inefficient RJ Barrett is much more fun to watch and better for this basketball team for the now and the future than an inefficient Julius Randle. I am seeing a shift in the guard, and I think you are too, that the face of the Knicks is no longer Julius and it's RJ Barrett. They're going to build around him, and they're giving him the keys to this offense. How many times did we see him in a pick-and-roll situation where he dominated the shot clock with the ball in his hands? And the best thing about RJ, he's still just 21 years old. At 21 years old, he's doing things in the NBA that only guys like LeBron James and Luka Doncic have done in their young NBA career. There are things I'd like to see him get better at. I think he needs to get a little bit stronger in the lower half. Too many times I feel like I see him get pushed off his spot. I want him to be a little bit better in shape, more quicker, and also the free throw shooting. But besides that, RJ Barrett is coming into the player that we all thought he would be. Following his career performance against the Heat this past weekend, Jimmy Butler said this about RJ Barrett. He had a hell of a game. An all-around game at that. We all know he's capable of that. I don't think anybody is surprised or should be surprised. He's definitely going to be playing in this league for a long time, and he's going to be the face of the Knicks. Then Bam Adebayo. He also touched and talked and ranted and raved about RJ Barrett following that game, and he said his confidence. You could see it in the body language. You could see it in his face. He wants to be that guy. You could see he wants to take his team to another level. You could see it in his body language. He's playing free. He's not even thinking about what shots to take or when to take them. And RJ Barrett, he's finally becoming the player we all hoped and dreamed we were going to get on draft night when the Knicks picked third in the NBA draft. But I love the fact that he's taking strides and becoming a leader for this basketball team. He very often will get players involved, and what we saw yesterday with how he got Cam Reddish involved was very important. I want to see more minutes of RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish together. Reddish has struggled a little bit at finding playing time and capitalizing on those minutes. But in the past 2 games, Cam Reddish has showed why the Knicks have given up a first-round pick for this guy. Not because he went and dropped 30, but the energy, the effort, and the small glimpses of flash and splash plays were there. The past 2 games, he's averaging 7 points per night with 1.5 assists per game, but he's being much more efficient, shooting 50% from the field and 33.3% from deep. Cam yesterday was effective. He got downhill, and he looked to just be more in sync than he has so far with the New York Knicks. Cam, he needs more minutes, and with those minutes, I like yesterday saw when he played with the starters. That was awesome to see because Tom Thibodeau knows that this season at the end of the day is most likely lost. They're not going to make the NBA playoffs, and it's not the best case scenario for them to even make the NBA play-in tournament. It's about playing the young guys. Let Cam play with the established players on this Knicks roster. I really like the development we saw of Cam and RJ playing together. I hope that's something we will see through the remainder of the 2022 NBA season. One thing I got to tell you about is the sub battle we have here at Chat Sports going on between 76ers Now and New York Knicks Now. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were more than 500 subs above Sixers Now, hosted by Chase Sr., who you guys seen on the channel. He was born in Philly. I was born in New York, so we're repping for our home teams. And every day when I get into the office, Chase Sr. tells me, "Yo, Marsh, you check the sub count? We are right behind you." And at the end of the day, there's 2 things I hate to do. I hate losing, and I hate losing to Philadelphia, whether it's the Eagles or the 76ers. We can't lose. We may have lost on Sunday on the court, but we can't lose in the sub battle. So if you're new to New York Knicks Now, go hit that big red button because we are a one-stop shop for all Knicks news and rumors here on YouTube. So if that sounds good to you, join the fam. Go hit that big red button. Is it time for Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks to bench Alec Burks and start Immanuel Quickley? I understand the people that say Immanuel Quickley is not really a point guard. Well, either is Alec Burks. Immanuel Quickley is still a young player, second year out of Kentucky. Alec Burks, he's a journeyman, second or third guard off the bench that's 30 years old. In the last 68 minutes, the past 2 games, Alec Burks recorded just 2 assists. So I don't want to hear that nonsense that Immanuel Quickley's not a true point guard. The way this Knicks offense works right now, they depend on someone as a point guard to be a floor spacer, a good defensive presence, and a guy like Immanuel Quickley that gets out in the fast break and has them play with more pace. Alec Burks, he's not a point guard, and that's obvious. This is someone that is a guy that you just roll off the bench, let him play about 15 to 20 minutes per game, and have him just go get buckets like he did last year in the NBA playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks. This is someone that can come in and give you buckets. This isn't someone that can run your offense or be a floor general or be someone at the end of the day that you can rely on to create for others. And Immanuel Quickley may not be that guy either, but what he did yesterday against the Philadelphia 76ers gives me hope for him as a point guard. Yeah, just 1 assist, but it goes much deeper than the stat sheet with Immanuel Quickley. He was a floor general and a floor spacer. He shot 3 of 7 from 3. We all know when Quickley gets hot, he can be a knockdown shooter, but he also pushed the tempo. He got the Knicks easy looks. He didn't always get the assists. Sometimes it was the hockey assist, but he had them playing with more motion and more pace, and that's what this Knicks offense needs. They need to find ways to score easy buckets. And with Alec Burks, that hasn't been the case. I want to give a shout out to my guy Tommy Beer. He's on Twitter. He's always tweeting about the Knicks, and he always does a deep dive into the analytics. And I thought what he had to say about Alec Burks was very, very telling. He said this: over New York's last 5 games, the Knicks have been outscored by 38 points in 142 minutes. Burks has been on the court. That's the worst plus-minus on the team, with New York averaging just 96 points per 100 possessions. With Burks on the bench, that number jumps up to 114.3 points per 100 possessions. We'll touch on some Tom Thibodeau quotes here in a second, but I want you to pick a point guard? Who do you want to be the starter for the rest of the NBA seasons? If you want it to be Alec Burks, go down in the comments and type AB. Or if you want the youngin, IQ, to be in the starting lineup, go down in the comments and type IQ. I want to tell you about this awesome deal we have going on with Fanatics. Shout out to them. They're the sponsor of today's show. If you go to chatsports.com/Knicks sale, they have all types of different Knicks gear on sale. They got jackets, they got beanies, they got gloves, they got all types of stuff on sale. So if you're looking to rock some Knicks merchandise and look good and get it on a cheap deal on sale, there's not often these days where you can get swaggy Knicks gear on sale. I really like this blue jacket. It's going to be cold for a couple more months, so do it in style. Warm up wearing some Knicks gear, maybe this Knicks hoodie. I got to go get some more Knicks gear. I'm going to go do it at chatsports.com/Knicks sale, so beat me to it. Go get some Knicks gear, chatsports.com/Knicks sale. Alec Burks, he's been starting for the Knicks since Kemba Walker was ruled out for the year due to the fact that he didn't want to be a part of this team anymore. And Tom Thibodeau, following that, said this about Alec Burks and why he's going to be the starting point guard. Tom Thibodeau, I just think, digging into the numbers, Alec has been our best option so far. And that could not just be further from the truth. In the last 18 games, Alec Burks has been playing one of the worst stretches of basketball in his NBA career, averaging 8.5 points per night, 2.6 rebounds, not even that many assists. He's not an assist type of player, shooting 35% from the field and 31% from three. So if you look at those numbers and you take a look back in time 2 weeks ago before the NBA All-Star break, and Tom Thibodeau said this, how does it make sense that Alec Burks deserves these minutes? He said this before the NBA All-Star break and when the Knicks blew a 28-point lead against the Brooklyn Nets. Everything's on the table. It has to be. And it just got to be merit-based. I'm not going to give minutes just to give minutes, so that's not happening. You earn what you get. If a guy is playing good, he plays. If the team is functioning well when he's on the floor, he should play. That's the most important thing. The team has to come first for everyone. This can't be about what's best for any one individual. It's what's best for the group. And if that's true, if you really believe that, Tom Thibodeau, and you want us Knicks fans and Knicks reporters and Knicks media guys to believe that you're going to give minutes to people that have earned them, then don't keep trotting out Alec Burks. He's not a point guard, and it has not worked for the Knicks when he's been on the court. The fact he's shooting sub 35% from three and the field in the past 18 games shows that he is someone that has not worked for the New York Knicks when he's been asked to be a point guard, because that is just not what he is. Let him come off the bench. Let him light the scoreboard up when it comes to getting shots up in a short stint of minutes and in volume, because at the end of the day, he's not a point guard, and it hasn't worked out. So it's time to move on, start Immanuel Quickley, and just let the young guys play. I appreciate everyone that's tuned into today's show. And something new I'm going to start on these Knicks Now videos is this. I want to get you guys involved in on-screen every single video. So if you're in the comment section right now and you made it up to this point in the video, comment below a random Knicks player. Maybe it can be Ronaldo Balkman or Billy Walker, someone. Just comment a random Knicks player down below in the comment section, and I will give a shout out to everybody that does on the next New York Knicks Now. Another way you can stay up to date on New York Knicks news and rumors is by hitting me up on Twitter. Give me a follow and send me a DM at @MarshallGreen_. Send me a DM. Let me know you came from this video, and I'll give you a follow back.